Hello, everyone there at the Arizona Country Club. My name is Dave Kearns, and I am the Maker's Mark diplomat for the Western Division, which means I get to work with all of my great teammates down there in Arizona. Unfortunately, virtually and not in person. I'd much rather be there in a room doing a whiskey tasting and talking you through the history and everything that goes along with these amazing brands that you have in your sample kit there. But we're going to do it virtually today, obviously during this time with COVID. So I hope you're all doing well. I hope you played well today, and let's drink some whiskey. So the first whiskey I want to tell you about there is Old Tub. Now, Old Tub, this whiskey actually laid the foundation for the #1 bourbon in the world, Jim Beam. This is the whiskey they made prior to Jim Beam, and it's a bottled in bond bourbon. Well, bottled in bond means a number of things. Really, it was the first kind of pure food and drug act of our country's history, because prior to that, if you were a bar owner or a pharmacist, you could mix all kinds of bad things in with your barrel of whiskey that you could have filled in your jug there at that pharmacy or at that saloon or bar. But the Bottle and Bond Act said that it had to be a number of things. One, it had to be aged at least 4 years. Two, it had to be 100 proof. Three, no additives. Nothing can be added to it other than water. Four, distilled at that one distillery that said it distilled it. And finally, distilled during one distilling season, which is there's 2 in a year. It's the first 6 months of the year and the second 6 months of the year. So all of this whiskey came from a 6-month time period from the Jim Beam distillery. It is unfiltered, which I think was a great decision for this whiskey. It really has a great viscosity, it mixes well, and it's priced extremely affordable. So if you like old fashions or Manhattans, bourbon Manhattans at home, this is a whiskey that you could definitely look at and make a delicious cocktail at home. Old Tub, unfiltered, bottled in bond bourbon from the Jim Beam distillery. The second whiskey I want to tell you about today is Maker's 46 Cask Strength. See, Maker's 46 was first released back in 2010. Our founder's son, Bill Samuels Jr., created it because he wanted a bigger, bolder version of Maker's Mark. So we used 10 seared French oak staves. They're wafer staves about 1 centimeter thick. And we put those in a fully mature barrel of Maker's Mark Cask Strength, and it amplifies the flavors that Bill Jr. wanted to create, which for him, he said a yummier version. And that meant more vanilla, more caramel, and more of those baking spices like clove, nutmeg, and cinnamon. I think that whiskey absolutely delivers that. But for the 10th anniversary to celebrate, we released very limited amounts of this Maker's Mark Cask Strength. The sample you have there should be 111, 112 proof, and it is a full flavor. The higher the proof, the more flavor you're going to get. It's perfectly acceptable to add water or ice. That will dilute. You'll actually be able to taste more of the whiskey if you do dilute it a little bit. And that's something that I never frown upon. Drink it how you like it. That's what I like to say. And this is Maker's 46 Cask Strength. Definitely a gem in our portfolio at Maker's Mark. Currently, or before this, it was really only available at the distillery. But now it is available to you to buy today. The next is another Maker's Mark whiskey. It's this year's annual wood finishing release. Last year we released our first national release. It was called RC6 on a limited basis. This year we're calling it the annual wood finishing release, but it is called SE4 times PR5, which means that we use 2 different staves, one American oak stave and one French oak stave to hit the taste vision. And the taste vision this year honors kind of bourbon's legacy and flavor, which is caramel and vanilla. And we've been doing a lot of press around this whiskey as it's just being released nationally. And the tasting note we keep getting from people is that it tastes like butter pecan ice cream. It's super rich, super creamy, lots of vanilla and lots of caramel. It's definitely one of my favorite things I've ever tasted from our distillery. And it's very limited, even more limited than the Maker's Cask Strength. So if you want a bottle, again, reach out to Ali or Matt there at the Country Club, and they can help you get a bottle of this. I can tell you it's going to go fast. It's flying off the shelves around the country right now. So make sure if this is something you like, grab a bottle of it before it's gone. And the last whiskey that we have there in your kit is the Arizona Country Club Knob Creek Single Barrel version. And it is a rye whiskey from the Jim Beam Distilleries in Claremont. This is a Kentucky rye style. So by that, it's not a high like Pennsylvania rye, 95% or 100% rye whiskey in the grain, in the mash bill. But this is a 54, 55% rye with somewhere around 30% corn and the rest of it being malted barley. And that's called Kentucky style rye. A lot of the ryes you see from Kentucky, from some of the competitors, are similar style of mash bill with about 51 to 55% rye in their mash bill. This will be spicy. It's 115 proof. It's also the whiskey that they used in your cocktail there. So please make sure you try this one at the end. It's definitely a good one to finish on because it is a rye versus a bourbon. The other three were bourbons. The last thing I want to say is, again, if you want any of these whiskeys, you can get them there from the country club. They can work with our local team to make sure that they get enough whiskeys for you to buy. And again, all four of these are very special limited editions. So you got some treats in there today. Definitely four of the best whiskeys I've tasted this year from anywhere in the bourbon and rye category. With that, that's kind of what I have to say to you today, but I want to say thank you. We greatly appreciate your partnership, and we hope you enjoyed the whiskeys today, and we hope you enjoyed your round. I hope you all are safe and have a great day. We'll talk to you again soon.